Fans, we're back live once again on the Cheap Heat Productions podcast network. My name is Jack Kilby, no gimmicks guy on the socials, and I've got a very special guest today. A man who I've had the pleasure of watching wrestle across a couple of promotions here in Ontario. He's a veteran now of the independent scene in Canada, but has one heck of a inspirational story to tell as well. I would be talking about the man who was formerly known as Playboy, but now Relentless, John Atlas. John, welcome to the show today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Much appreciated.
I think it's a good place to start. One of the questions the fans ask all the time is, growing up, were you a fan of the business? And if so, were you a follower of any particular company, and what were your influences?
Yeah, I was a huge fan of the business growing up. I gravitated towards Hulk Hogan. I was a Hulkamaniac. That is what intrigued me to get involved, like just to follow the product. So I live in Ontario, and we predominantly got WWF TV. And so I would follow, and I would see Hulk Hogan and on Superstars or Saturday Night's Main Event. And from the time I was probably 5 years old, I was a Hulkamaniac. I ate my vitamins, said my prayers, and like everything was Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Was there a particular moment when you decided, that being there's a lot of folks that are super fans and don't necessarily get into the business, but was there a moment where you decided, or was this something that you always had in the back of your mind?
So like growing up, it was always something that I wanted to do, but like my parents didn't really want me to get into professional wrestling. And then at the time there was no real schools around. There was nothing, like, it was kind of like, you didn't know where to go to find out who to train with, how to get trained or anything like that. So when you would watch the old documentaries that would get put out by like Bret Hart, or they talk about some of the old territories with Tully Blanchard and stuff. They all had a background in football. So I said, I need to have a background in football. I thought football might be some sort of gateway into professional wrestling. But I ended up really liking football, and I excelled at football as well. And so I was able to use that to get a scholarship to go to the University of Manitoba. So meanwhile, I'm pursuing football, my pro wrestling dreams are kind of put on hold because now I'm getting school paid for, following a different avenue. And still at that time, as I'm growing up in the early 2000s, like there's very minimal stuff still out about schools, what schools you can go to learn and train. Eventually I came across Lance Storm's school. I went out to Calgary and I checked it out before I ended up signing up, just to see like what I was getting myself into. And I met with Lance and we sat down, we talked it over. He appreciated, that I finished university, and he's like, if this is something you want to do, I can train you and show you how to do it. He advised me of the kind of the curriculum. So it was every day, Monday to Friday, for four hours a day. And that it was for 3 months. And so that's all you were doing was wrestling every day for 3 months. And eventually, by the end of his class, he would let you know if he thought you were good enough to go on the independents and kind of go forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed that you were trained at the Storm Academy, and wanted to ask you in terms of the basics. You're in the ring quite a bit, learning the fundamentals, but I think Storm also is renowned for teaching that other side of the business. That's psychology that some schools do not. Did you find talking to other people in the industry that your training stood out as compared to, you know, some of the other schools out there at the time that were, you know, basically boom, 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 that's it, focus on the spots and off you go?
Yeah, so like I think I had a good grounding in like how to put together a match and everything like that. I guess I didn't really much have a quote unquote indie style. I was just trained in professional wrestling. Like this is how you do it as professional wrestling. But as you get involved in the independence, you realize that there's different ways to do anything, and there's more custom ways that performers like to put their matches together. So like you said, you have to apply it with psychology purposes to what makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, then the audience isn't going to get it. And if the audience doesn't get it, then you're not going to get the reactions that you want.
You mentioned that at the end of the process, Lance sat you down and discussed what did he. Obviously, you had the athletic gifts over and above a lot, but what did he say to you that stood out in your mind? You know, aside from giving you the seal of approval to go out and start working.
He believed in me. He said that I would be able to do it, and he said, you know, he goes, how far do you want to take it? And he goes, are you just looking to do it at an independent level? Are you looking to do it? And I said, I want to be in the WWE. That's my goal. I want to be a WWE superstar. And he's just like, okay. And he goes, I think you have the tools for it. And he goes, but it's up to you. How much do you want to pursue it? And how much are you willing to go after it? And like, there's no real, like, then as soon as I'm done the school, there was no real blueprint as to like how to go out there and kind of attack the independent scene. So I would have to, like, you want to just get as much work as possible. And at the time I was in Calgary, there wasn't that many shows being run every weekend. It was more on a month-to-month basis. So you get one show kind of like at the beginning of the month and maybe one show at the end of the month. So there'd be a lot of time off in between. And when you're just starting out, that's not really ideal for a wrestler. You want to get as many reps as you can to get better at your craft.
So you broke in, or your first match was in fall of 2013. What was that? Think back to that specific show where you're putting it all together and you're actually having a match in front of an audience. What do you remember from that situation? Was it extremely daunting, or were you superbly confident that you're gonna get it done?
I'm nervous. Obviously I was nervous, just as I still am today. Like, I feel like if you're not nervous just before you go out there, you know, there's something a little off. Like, you want to perform well, you want to perform at a high level, and you want to meet the fans' expectations. So that's always been my goal every time that I perform. And I perform for the reactions out of the fans. I want them, when I do a certain pose, if I do a certain move, I want them to either love it, hate it. I want them to express that and express that openly. And you know, as soon as I walk through the curtain, are they going to boo me? Are they going to like me? It's a lot easier to get someone to boo you than it is to get someone to like you.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Well, you've done both sides of the coin very well. We've got the first fan question up next. An individual that saw the interview that I did a couple of weeks ago with Irish Jake O'Reilly, another standout of that great promotion that's been around for a while, still tearing it up, and that would be Rock Solid Pro. They too saw you against Jake O'Reilly and commented on the quality of those matches. what is it about working Jake that you seem to click, so to speak, chemistry wise?
I started working with Rock Solid Wrestling when I had come to Ontario, and for whatever reason, from a competitive standpoint, Jake and I really hit it off. We're always trying to outdo one another, and it just seemed that we clicked on what what we were wanting to do in the ring, and how we wanted to make the audience feel by the end of our matches. He's probably one of my greatest opponents, and we've put forth a lot of really good matches.
Yeah, absolutely, and I've seen a couple too. When you first came onto the scene, at least in Ontario, you were using the Playboy gimmick, and I wanted to ask you about that because when I first saw that presentation, I thought shades of ravishing Rick Rude. How did you, unlike say Playboy Buddy Rose for cosmetic reasons, obviously,
Yep.
how did you develop that persona?
So it was more of they always say a true to life character, but you want to have it done up a little bit more. So when I was in my university days, I like to go out to the bar, and I would get attention from a couple of girls here and there and stuff like that. So I just took that and I just kind of amplified it a bit. And you're 100% right. I did kind of lean into the Rick Rude a bit. I took a little bit, I think, from everybody. I did a little Rick Rude, a little Shawn Michaels, a little bit of Mr. Perfect, and I try to take elements from each one of those guys and make it my own.
Yeah, it certainly was memorable. But now you've earned the nickname Relentless through your really inspiring journey, including overcoming cancer and to my research, a drive-by shooting as well. Wow, could you talk about both of those situations and how you made the decision to leave the Playboy behind and go in a different direction?
Sure. So I hadn't started professional wrestling yet when I got shot, and I was working at a nightclub outside of um, BC, and unfortunately, I ended up getting shot in the leg in a drive-by shooting, and it was just kind of a real life moment for myself. Um, Not so like I at the time I knew I wasn't going to die or anything like that, but it was just a real life altering moment. No pun intended here, but like you only get one shot in life, and that's like you either going to do what you want to do with it, or you're going to do something else. And I always wanted to become a professional wrestler, and after that moment, that's what kind of nudged me in that direction of, all right, I'm going to go, I'm going to do it. This is what I want to do. I know I can do it well. I've been watching it my whole life, and that's what pushed me into professional wrestling. Now,
Sorry, could I just ask a clarification?
yes,
You were working because I worked in bars years myself. Were you on the door when somebody shot you?
yes.
Oh my God! Wow, mistaken identity, I take it, or something.
Yeah, so what had happened was the individual and his girlfriend were both kicked out of the bar. They had
Oh,
been. We were the bar itself was hosting a rap concert, and the two individuals were kicked out for falling asleep. They started trying to make a kind of a scene outside of the nightclub. Not so much with myself. Again, with other staff members. I pulled them aside. I said, "Look, guys, sorry, you can't come back in tonight." I said, "But if you want to come back tomorrow, I'll be free to. I'll the first round will be on me. I'll get you guys a drink, blah blah blah." Trying to ease the situation. Oh, that's great. You're a nice guy, but the guys you work with are, assholes. Sure, okay. They turn around to go their separate ways. Didn't think anything of it. Thought it was kind of cooled off, and that would be it. from that to the timing of the shooting, it was probably maybe 15-20 minutes. And then I heard what I thought was fireworks going off, and I saw the car coming, and then I was like, me and one of my closest friends, we made eye contact, and we were just, our eyes bugged out, and I was just like, we're being shot at. And fortunately, I was the only one who was shot. Nobody else sustained any injuries or anything like that. But the whole front of the building and the establishment was shot up.
Wow, that's incredible. What a nightmare. Back when I was doing it, the worst we had to worry about was like a broken beer bottle weapon or something. Wow, that's absolutely incredible. Sorry, next part. Sorry to interrupt.
No. And then, so then that kind of pursued me to go into professional wrestling, and I'm doing that, and I'm doing the Playboy gimmick and moniker, and I'm obtaining success with it. I'm getting I ended up doing a Ring of Honor tryout, did really well with them. They liked what they saw. Everything's are going on the up and up, and then I kind of get hit with cancer. I found out that I had testicular cancer, and it had spread to my lungs. At the time, I felt fine. Nothing was out of the ordinary or anything like that. Go in, and then I have to start doing my chemotherapy. When I start doing my chemotherapy, obviously knocks my hair off. I'm losing weight. I'm losing muscle mass. I'm not quite the same performer that I once was. And then I ended up having to get, in total, 4 thoracotomy surgeries, which is 4 lung surgeries, removing in total of 58 tumors from my lungs. The biggest one being the size of a baseball. So I had all that kind of going on inside, and I didn't even realize it, and I was still performing at such a high level and doing well. Go through all of that, and then as I'm going through that, I'm talking with my wife and about making my comeback to professional wrestling and everything like that. And she's the one who said to me, she goes, you've been through such a real life experience. She goes, you're not that guy anymore. You're not the Playboy anymore. That gimmick is kind of something that got you started, but you're not him anymore. You're she in her own words, she was like, you're John Cena. Like you're the superhero of professional wrestling. And she's just like, people can all relate to you. People all know someone that has been through cancer, has gone through some type of cancer, or they all know about it. And to see you now and the shape that you're in and be able to bounce back from all the things you do, she was like, I think this is the way for you to go. And that kind of pursued me, and to go in that, to change and go into a different direction.
Wow, that's an incredible story, man. You must get a lot of feedback from fans that are battling disease, cancer themselves. It must be really inspirational to see how well you kicked out of that.
Yes, it is. So I get questions all the time about the scars on my back. People think like, "Oh, did you get those scars from wrestling?" I was like, "Actually, no. I'm a cancer survivor, and that's how." And then once they hear that and they hear everything else, they're like, if they're completely turned around, they're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you've been through all that, and like you're still out here performing." Wow, like it's really motivational to a lot of people.
That's awesome. One of your big fans from Greektown Championship Wrestling sent in a question talking about you winning that promotion's cup and holding their championship for 518 days. What an accomplishment that is, especially in the modern independent scene. They also said that you were battling the cancer at that time. What did that reign mean to you?
That reign was one of my first reigns, and it was like a first reign as a champion. And I was put in I got to tip my hats off to Greektown Wrestling for giving me the chance and giving me the kind of the ball and allowing me to run with it. But they showcased me against a different array of opponents and a different array of arsenals that like I had to tap into different areas of wrestling that I'm not normally accustomed to, and it challenged me as a performer, and it challenged me to be a better wrestler. So I take that promotion to heart, and I thought I did really well as their champion, and I can't say enough good things about them.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% positive reviews from that reign. And again, what an accomplishment in the modern era to hold a title that long from a promotion that's active. You've wrestled against some really notable names, just to name a few: Billy Gunn, Josh Alexander, Colt Cabana, Chavo Jr., all the way to Joey Janela. Thus far from any of those matches, do you have a standout moment?
For me, it'd probably be Billy Gunn. Just being in the room with him, or being in the same locker room with him. Here's a guy that I grew up watching and idolizing on TV, and now I get to share the same locker room with him, and his professionalism, and just I know where he's been, and he's been where I want to be, and just how he holds himself, how he conducts himself as a performer, and also as kind of a mentor and a coach to people in the back. Just straight up stand up professional through and through. And even when it comes to putting together matches and just certain things that, you know, he knows that will stand out, and he knows will get crowds' attention. So like it's not so much the moves; it's the personality and how you connect with connect with an audience, and he knows that more than anybody.
Mm. Yeah, and what a phenom to be plus 60 and still active and looking like that. Just amazing guy.
You don't realize how big he is until you meet him.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think 100%. He's 6'5", 6'6", 270 of just ripped muscle.
Yes. That's that. He's deceptively large, and TV does not do him justice. Just talking about the Canadian independent scene, Greektown, Barrie Wrestling, Rock Solid Pro, amongst others. These are pretty thriving independent promotions in some difficult times economically. Talk to Jake about this. About what does that do to help shape your career when you're on the road, grinding it out? Sometimes you're going to be in front of 50 people. Sometimes 1,000. How does that dues paying influence your mindset towards your career?
Everyone that has been a professional wrestler has been through it. The people that laid the groundwork to do what I do today have been there and done that. You hear the people talk about when Hogan was on top and their arenas were sold out, and it was great. But then when Hogan left and Brett kind of took over, it might not have been a sold out crowd each and every night, but the boys were working just as hard. And
I think John got a message. He'll be back hopefully quickly. This happens with StreamYard, unfortunately.
As much effort as you can, so that they're going to go and they're going to talk to other people and say, man, did you see that professional wrestling show? Did you see what these guys were doing? Oh man, next time they come to town, you got to come. You got to come. They went all out.
And in terms of you're talking about crowd size and varying differentials. I only saw you wrestle as a heel, and you certainly had a very strong ability to generate heat. How do you consistently, when you're, whether you're babyface or heel, when you're performing in front of these again varying size and crowds, how do you keep them invested in what you're doing in the ring?
From a heel's perspective, nobody likes to be told that you're better than them. Nobody likes to be told, and then when you kind of come out looking the way I do, you don't like to be told that. You don't like to be told like, I could take your girl. Your girl's with a zero. Like it's easy to get under people's skin. It's easy, especially in today's society. It's so easy to be hated. You could say one thing online and people just jump on you. They have no problem hating you. And you do the same thing as a performer. If my job is to go out there and be the bad guy, well, then I'm going to be the best bad guy that you ever did see. I'm going to make sure that you don't like me, your kids don't like me, and that goes into like as soon as I get those boos from my entrance, I'm wanting them to get louder and louder as the match progresses, because as soon as that babyface hits that comeback, I'm wanting the roof to explode. Like finally, this guy's getting his comeuppance. Finally, he's getting his payback. He said this about me. He said that, but now someone's doing something about it. And so you're paying off everything that you did forward.
Absolutely. You mentioned you had an ROH and I also understand a WWE tryout. What did you take away from those experiences? Did they give you any sort of feedback or anything that you're incorporating into your presentation or performance?
Yeah. So my ROH one was awesome. I enjoyed that. So I went in as the Playboy John Atlas there. They liked what they saw. And I was getting to be around Christopher Daniels, Jay Lethal, Adam Cole, Damian Priest, a bunch of guys that I look up to in the business, and they're telling me that, yeah, you got it. What you're doing is right. So it gave me gratification as a performer that, I'm doing things the right way. I'm going about things the right way. I'm getting the reactions that I want to get out of my matches. And so that was really eye-opening for me. And it did well. Unfortunately, like when it came time for booking wise, like I didn't have a US visa. And so there's only so much you can do as a Canadian. Um, Hats off to others, but I didn't have a U.S. visa, and I wasn't able to kind of pursue those bookings further. When I did my WWE tryout, I was going through my chemotherapy treatments, and this was my second time going around battling cancer, and so I was going through a vigorous kind of treatment where I'd have to be in hospital for a week receiving chemotherapy, and then I'd be off for 3 weeks to recover, and then I get hit again with chemotherapy. During that time, it just so like it happened when the WWE tryout was happening, when I was going to be kind of back to my fullest potential before I would have to do another chemotherapy treatment. And I disclosed all my information to the WWE, and they were all for it. They said, "We want to make this happen for you. We want to see you perform. We want you to do well." And they even did like a little side piece on me when it came to the tryout and kind of everything that I've been through. But it was great. I wouldn't change anything for the world. I thought I performed well. At least to the best of my abilities at that time, and I think it showed a lot of courage on my part, just being someone who's going through something and not letting it define them. My goals were still in front of me, and I was able to go out there and get to that level.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any interest? This is another fan question. Do you have any interest in working specifically. They were talking about the fan did about the roots and the independence of AEW. Do you see yourself fitting into AEW in the future?
Yeah, I would. I know they're coming to they're coming to town soon. I plan on attending. Professional wrestling to me is professional wrestling. I would AEW. I still watch the product. They have a lot of phenomenal talent and phenomenal wrestlers, even wrestlers that I was able to get in the ring with before they became AEW superstars, such as an MJF at Greektown Wrestling. If that would be something that I'd be able to do again, full-heartedly, I would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they seem to be on an upswing lately for sure with some of their pay-per-views. Yeah, it's Toronto in the end of September, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And then I think it's London for Dynamite and Collision.
Awesome. Well, hopefully something happens there for you. Speaking of Toronto, though, the Toronto wrestling community, you've credited in prior conversations as being a big part of your recovery and success. How have those fans in the local scene supported you through, some really tough moments, as we've talked about?
One fan in particular, it is a Greektown Wrestling fan. He was a little guy, and he had watched me perform at every Greektown show. And at every Greektown show, I had always taken a picture with him. So I'd take a picture, and I'd usually either put him on my shoulders. And then his dad came to me after I had gone through all my treatments and everything like that. And he made me a kind of a collage of all the pictures that I've taken with his son. And he's like, you're my son's guy. You're his favorite. And it's just like all the years, and it was cool to see, because now his son's almost a teenager, and you just see his kid growing up through the years, and just every year still getting that same picture with John Atlas. So that was obviously something very nice to see. And then while I was going through my chemotherapy treatments and everything like that, I had an outpour of support from people that have watched me perform on the independents, just giving me positive messages, positive vibes, hoping that I do well and hoping that I'll be able to bounce back.
Yeah, it's great. There's nothing like wrestling fans in terms of their loyalty.
And you just never know, like, when you're out there performing, how you're going to affect somebody and how you're going to affect their life. And to me, when I was going through that, to have the outpour of people saying, I watched you do this, or I watched you do that, like, it means something to you as a performer, that what you're doing actually means something, and you'll be able to actually connecting with the audience.
Mm-hmm. Tremendous. Another fan question was about your fitness and nutrition regimen. Obviously, you're always in tip-top form, and they wanted to know how you maintain that while you're on the road or traveling, all that kind of grind.
I would say consistency over time. Working out has been a huge staple of mine ever since I was probably 12 years old, getting into football. And I always stay consistent. So I've been working out since I was 12. I've been hitting the gym every day. Now, as I get older, I'm hitting it probably 4 or 5 times, probably 4 times a week, and allowing myself to rest on those other days. And I've always for the most part eaten healthy. I would say, like, I do like the salty snacks, and my go-to would be like movie popcorn. That's one of my go-tos when it comes to the snacks, is movie popcorn. But for the most part, though, I'm eating pretty healthy, a lot of vegetables, a lot of high protein foods.
In terms of you still have a lot to go in your career, but if you could boil it down to something that you're most proud of, what would that be? And this is a 2-part question. What's one paramount goal that you hope to achieve still?
That's a great question. I would say for the first part there, just having kind of the odds against you. Never let any situation define you as a person or as a performer. I had odds stacked against me. Doctors saying that I shouldn't wrestle while I was doing chemotherapy. Doctors saying that I might not wrestle again. But that was never on my mind. I always knew I was going to be able to get back in the ring and perform. I always believed in myself, that I was able to do that. So I would say to the first part of the question is never let whatever your circumstances are define you. You can do anything that you put your mind to, and you just have to kind of stay true and focused to that. And sorry, can you repeat the second part?
If you had like a goal, a paramount goal or goals, what would that be?
I would say, I would hope to make an impact on the Ontario independents, as well as putting out high quality, high performance matches against. There's a lot of top talent that come through Ontario, and even guys, a lot of TNA talent that I have yet to been able to step in the ring with, that I would love to get in there and kind of put a show on with. Steve Macklin, who has a tremendous background and I think is an amazing performer, or an EC3 for an NWA. I think if I was able to get in there with either one of those guys, I'd put forth fantastic matches for everyone to see. So I would still love to be able to get out there and just put out a more high performance matches, because I don't think that you've seen the best of me yet.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Before I let you go, you've talked about how you haven't let the obstacles define you, and how important a positive attitude is to making it in this business. But if you had to give advice just overall for say that young fellow that was inspired by you, and like Hogan did for yourself, what would you tell someone that wanted to break into the independent scene in 2025? Is there any salient advice that was passed on to you at the start that still applies today, or is it totally different?
I would say, one, you always have to believe in yourself, believe in what got you to the dance type of thing. You're here for a reason. And you are going to get a lot of no's thrown in your way, but that doesn't mean to stop. When I hear the word no, I just know that means I'm one yes away. I'm one yes away from getting what I want to hear. And then a lot of times when I did hear no, you obviously, as a performer, you get frustrated, you get upset. But then as time goes on, you realize maybe I wasn't the absolute best I could be at this time. Maybe I hadn't evolved enough to where they would have wanted to sign me, or for whatever reason. It's going to happen. You're going to have a lot of ups and downs. But just stay true to yourself and stay focused on your goals. Have your goals written down. Write them down every day and look at them. But when you wake up, and look at them when you go to bed, see what you've done to accomplish, and get any closer to what those goals may be, is what I would say.
Excellent. Where John, can the fans find you on social media? And do you have anything in particular going on in the near future or future that the fans should know about Plug Time?
Yeah, so they can follow me, The Real John Atlas, on Instagram. I'm bigger I use Instagram or Facebook. John Atlas on Facebook. Upcoming matches that I can be seen at, I will be featured on GCW, Great Canadian Championship Wrestling, for them. I'll also be back with Rock Solid for their September 5th show in Angus, Ontario. So please come out and support. Not too sure what the matches will be, but I'll be on the card, so you're going to see a good time.
Excellent. Well, John, I want to thank you very much for sharing your story today and coming on the Cheap Heat Productions podcast. Wish you continued success in your career.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be on. Hopefully we can do it again.
Absolutely. We'll keep in touch. Fans, that's it for this special edition of the Cheap Heat Productions podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for watching this video. Please give it a like if you enjoyed it. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at Cheap Heat Productions. Don't forget to hit the notification button and you won't miss any of our upcoming interviews, recurring programs, or